even for me, you know, like I have a few things. I understand a little bit of Nei Gong. I've been doing, you know, Tai Chi and doing some power standing, doing some meditation for X amount of years, so I've cultivated at least kind of an entry level of Nei Gong, and I can kind of get an idea of what's going on when I watch very advanced people like Adam Myers and like, hey! How you going, internalists? Internal Lars, today we're going to do some Nei Gong training to cultivate our Nei Gong. But just what the heck is Nei Gong? Well, I used to go out of my way to debate that with people, because a lot of my friends that were interested in Tai Chi and internal martial arts, or what they thought was internal martial arts, they used to also be quite interested in you know, MMA and boxing and sports and all this other stuff, which I am as well. And they used to go out of their way to claim that you know, Nei Gong, wow, it's, you know, it's something that you achieve through doing Tai Chi and other forms of mind-body disciplines. Well, MMA and boxing and Taekwondo and this and that, they're also mind-body disciplines. They're also just as much cultivating the physics and the movement of the body. So they must also achieve Nei Gong as well. You know, a lot of my friends were absolutely certain that you know, these pro boxers or pro MMA fighters, they must also have this Nei Gong, because they are also at a high level in their mind-body discipline as well. And the short answer is they're not. How do you actually define what Nei Gong is in terms of an advanced Tai Chi person, or a person who's doing internal martial arts for many, many years and training it very, very well? And when they have Nei Gong, what does it actually mean? Well, if you would touch one of these people very, very lightly, if you would apply, say, 0.01 grams of force very lightly to any part of their body, that part of their body that you applied that force to, they would be aware of that as it was making contact with them, and they would be able to adjust every single joint and every single fascia, every single tendon, every single ligament, every single bone and cartilage structure. They would be able to adjust that almost instantaneously to the exact amount. So I would say to my friends, okay, look, if you got you know, your favorite boxer that you feel should also have this Nei Gong, because they're also at a high level of mind-body practice, I'm like, look, if you would touch them and do it, they wouldn't be able to do it. They would be like, how do you know that? You know, you don't know anything about boxing or whatever. And the fact is that just doing boxing or just doing MMA on its own, I mean, typical boxing training or typical MMA that doesn't have this mindfulness component in it, training the with the same methodology. So this is the key point here, with the same methodology that is employed and that is used in the genuine internal martial arts to cultivate Nei Gong. When you don't have that, then you don't have the mechanism, the ability. You're not able to initiate, set in motion the process of cultivating the Nei Gong, the awareness to that degree. It's not to say that people who do MMA and boxing and this or that are not skilled. Of course they're very skilled, relatively speaking, for their area. However, if you would really compare one of these people with someone who actually has Nei Gong, this is going to sound a little bit biased maybe, but if that person who has Nei Gong, if their Nei Gong is deeper than the other person, they will easily be able to render ineffective this MMA fighter or this boxer's movements, simply by being more aware and more mindful and having cultivated deeper Nei Gong than them. So that's going to sound quite quite biased perhaps, and you're going to be like, whoa, internal blast, he's biased, he's doing Tai Chi and he's just trying to sell, you know, his idea. No, that's of course how a lot of people would react, and of course that is how generally you would react from the perspective of a non-experiencer of Nei Gong. If any of these people would go out and experience Nei Gong generally, experience Nei Gong genuinely, like go and touch hands with someone who actually has Nei Gong, or even cultivate Nei Gong to a sufficient degree themselves, their opinions will change. Their opinions will change a lot, actually. So there is a lot of people out there nowadays trying to, or you know, selling training methods to train Nei Gong, and you know, of course they're good as well. And let's be honest, you know, people like DKU, people like Sifu Sergio, people like Adam Meisner, these people have really cultivated, you know, quite sufficient, quite deep levels of Nei Gong. And a lot of the people who are, you know, genuine about it as well, they are also honest, and they say, look, this is not necessarily something that you have to come to me and pay me, you know, X amount of dollars to learn it from me. This is actually something that you can theoretically, you can technically learn yourself if you are diligent enough, and if you have the right plan, and if you understand the roadmap of Nei Gong, if you really understand how to get there yourself, and if you really put in the time, then just like any other skill, then you know you can learn it. But generally speaking, this Nei Gong, the real genuine skill of Nei Gong is it's, you know, any other skill. If we're talking about, say, like programming, or like cooking, or like building, or driving, or flying a plane, all these skills are something that people can generally relate to. You know, though people already perceive those skills, because those skills are already on the level of physics that people can relate to, because they can experience that. However, Nei Gong, one of the reasons that it is so, you know, mysterious, it's not magic, but it can be mysterious, because people cannot relate. They find it difficult. It is difficult to relate to a high level of Nei Gong. Even for me, you know, like I have a few things. I understand a little bit of Nei Gong. I've been doing, you know, Tai Chi and doing some power standing, doing some meditation for X amount of years. So I've cultivated at least kind of an entry level of Nei Gong, and I can kind of get an idea of what's going on when I watch very advanced people like Adam Meisner, like DKU, like Sifu Sergio, like this person, like that person. You know, I got a much better idea of what's going on, but still, I'm looking at it from the perception of a non-observer. I don't have their level of Nei Gong, or I can't go and I'm not able to touch hands with them right now. So, you know, and this becomes even more problematic for a person who, you know, is, you know, might not be able to see that. And even more problematic so is when you is if you are attached, or you are, biased towards, certain other